For example 17, we're going to be multiplying rational numbers. And before we actually start to multiply fractions, we need to recall our sign rules. And those rules were for when you multiply with same signs. So if we had a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative, our product will always be a positive. And then when we multiply with different signs, a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive, our product is always negative. So it's important to remember these rules for signed numbers. It applies to all types of multiplication, fractions, decimals, integers. We follow these rules here. So in our problem, we have a negative 3/7 times 8/15, and we have a negative times a positive, which means that our answer is going to be a negative. So I'm going to put the negative sign there to begin with. And now I'm just going to multiply as I normally would with fractions. So I'm going to take 3/7 and multiply it by 8/15. We multiply across, numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. Before I begin to multiply though, I'm going to look and see if I could reduce anything beforehand. And again, you could reduce any numerator or denominator that share the same multiples. 3 and 15 both share a multiple of 3. 3 could go into 3 one time, so that's going to become a 1 there. And 3 goes into 15 5 times, so that will be a 5. There are no more multiples shared between any of the numerators or the denominators, so now we could just multiply across. 1 times 8 gives us 8. 7 times 5 gives us 35. So when you multiply 3/7 by 8/15, you get 8/35. Because it was a negative times a positive, our answer would be a negative 8/35. For example B, we have mixed numbers, and we have a negative times a negative. So our answer for example B is going to be a positive. And now what we want to do with the mixed numbers, we want to change them into improper fractions to begin. So we're going to multiply 5 and 2 to get 10, and then add the 3 on top. That gives us 13/5. So 2 and 3/5 got rewritten as 13/5 times 1 and 1/4 would become 4 times 1, which is 4. Add the 1 on top, that is 5/4. Now before we multiply, we want to look and see, are there any numerators and denominators that share the same multiples? And we know that 5 and 5 are the same, so those both become 1s. There are no more common multiples between numerators and denominators, so we can multiply across. 13 times 1 is 13. 1 times 4 is 4. Now we want to rewrite this as a mixed number again. 4 goes into 13 3 times, which would be 12. 13 minus 12 is 1, so there's a remainder of 1, so that leaves us with 3 and 1/4. And again, because it was negative times negative, our answer is a positive 3 and 1/4.